Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is our work session for the month of September. We don't have any guests to recognize to see. We have one recognition of meeting. 7/7/09 was our regular session. We will have Pride and Promises next Wednesday, and tonight we'll have a presentation on.
So look at all the academic principles. And you can do the admin reports for these guys, have presentations. Julie? Just Sean. That's the idea.
I think everything started up real smooth this year. Routes are doing fine. Very little complaints, very little issues with unloaded students. I think Sean's doing a great job answering all the calls that are coming through and having everything started so far.
How did the record on 422
That's
not the week we're at.
yeah. There was a couple people maybe got some injuries, but we had nothing to do with it at all. But it was just the first guard stopped and the second one did. You know, that's something out there that can happen anytime. And I noticed I was driving that route a couple of times too, and put my lights on, yellow lights, and behind me I'm looking in the mirror back here, and I see a tractor trailer coming. He's got his four-ways on. So some of the people do pay attention, so they're notifying the cars behind them that, hey, we're stopping up here. But not everybody's paying attention. But a lot of truck drivers I can see do that. They'll throw their four-ways on and say, no, we're going to be stopping.
I don't know why people in 422 don't seem to think they need to stop. I don't know what the difference is between that or 19, you know.
Yeah, but it's not, there's no divided highway, they have to stop.
We did move the bus stop.
Yes.
We're on the bend last time.
Sean,
Yeah, that, it actually turned out I had a meeting with Mom after that and she was good and, we talked through to get a new location for that. So that all worked out. Everything's gone good. We had the new route finder system. It was brand new to the whole school and, especially to me. I think it worked out quite well. We were able actually to pinpoint where the stops were and everything, which I really think did help on not getting a lot of complaints on times and stuff, because it does break down. You can add amount of time for stops and everything, so it really pinpoints where it is. So I think that was a big help to making this year smooth. Gone through, actually the 2 buses that we were purchasing are in our possession. We just still have to get them lettered up and everything, and we'll be good to go here shortly. Yeah, but everything seems to be falling into place. You need some drivers. So if anybody's got any friends or family or whatever, please, trying to reach out to as much as I can. Because we've got a bunch of stuff in place to move around to hopefully make everything smooth out. We just need some bodies actually to make that work out. So we just kind of had right before school, and then unexpected, pull out, which kind of put us a little behind, but if we can get some bodies, I think we can have a good year.
Joe McConaughey, one retired, came back to help us out a little bit. She did sign up to be a sub, so she's okay doing Thomas and stuff for a little bit for us. And also we have to thank Mallory. Mallory is excellent with this new bus program and got us smooth. And about her, she's an excellent person to work with, and she's super with it. Super.
Yeah, I didn't get one for the house. So that's a good start.
Yeah.
August, was pretty happy with the schools. Get everything cleaned and waxed, and it wasn't the longest summer ever. So I think they did a really good job up here. I wouldn't say it's perfection, but I would say it's definitely, I was happy. Put a huge triaxle load of mulch in the playground down the elementary. It looks pretty now. And I finally found a guy to come in after 4 months of searching to finally fix the pillar. And nobody wants to do any small jobs anymore, it seems like. And the other one we did, we got a bunch of asphalt patching and some hot tar done in the parking lots and around the football restroom area out there. Those are big hitters for August.
Any questions for Mr. Jones? Chief?
All right, so as many of you know, we got new parent pickup procedures at the elementary school. Mr. Swervely helped come up with, and it's been working pretty well, actually. We cut our times down from the first day, probably 10, 15 minutes quicker. So every day it's getting better. Today, it was really helping today. So yeah, so we'll get, the first, it was like 450. Nothing, all positive feedback. And with myself and Officer McCain go down there most days, I'll go around and talk to parents, father-in-law, try to get some feedback, and they're all really happy. So
Yeah, I've heard all good remarks. Even on Facebook, I haven't seen anything negative.
I asked a few parents, like ones that were requesting a change, and they're all very happy. So great job.
So, but it wasn't just because they wanted to be nice to me.
No, they told me to.
Awesome. Also, the Raptor kiosk at the middle high school here, it's operational and working well. Dr. Lee's been working on it a lot, fixing some stuff, and we got all the bugs fixed. We've been using it every day. I found out some new things too that we can do where people who come every day can get their badge, put it, and we'll give them a lanyard, and they can scan that lanyard, and it will rescan them, run them again, put them in the system, and they can scan out with it too. So they don't have to do the pictures with a license every time. It remembers them like that. So that's working real well. I got a procedure where every morning about 7:30, I go in and check it. Today just ran out of paper, so I learned how to fill that up, and it worked great the rest of the day. So I'm really happy with that. We have the kiosk, Raptor kiosk at the elementary school. It's in. It's just a matter of getting it wired up and get that started there. They're a little ahead of the 8 ball down at the elementary school because they already kind of keep people in that foyer area there. So I think it'll go smoothly there too.
Any questions for Chief Will?
It's been a great start to the school year. Still working on some services for a few new students. We have not had a large student enrollment within special education. I think we've had just 3 new students, so nothing too big. We are slowly getting started with IEP meetings. You know, the bus garage, they've been great working with me and trying to get students here and there. So, kudos to Sean because he's not had to do this before and he's talking to me a lot. I don't think he wanted to talk to me nearly as much as he has. We are still down 1 instructional aide at the high school, but we're continuing to look to fill that position. We lost Miss Debbie Kosciuszko from our special education staff due to cancer, and we have had such wonderful support from community members. We have had $180 donated in her name for our special needs students, not only by the Kosciuszko's family, but also some different community members. So I just wanted to acknowledge that because I just felt that it was important. She was missed by staff and students, and just very sad. And finally, we have completed the final phase of our state mandated threat assessment training, which is the Act 55 training. So we conducted some training with bus drivers and educational staff on the protocol for suicide prevention and intervention, along with how to report any threats a student may make towards other students, staff, or community members. And so that is all one of the mandates that we had to follow, but it's also just best practice, right? We just had another school shooting and they're talking about threat assessments. And probably the one thing the Commonwealth was in the forefront with was ensuring that those threat assessment teams are there and staff are trained to just ensure student and staff safety.
Oh, I think they're real important because I mean, a lot of these shootings could be stopped if somebody would just say something sooner.
Absolutely, and that's what all of the research has said.
I'll be in any position. If I was trying to get somebody interested, but this is
So they can have a high school degree or a 2 to 4 year degree. It is at the high school and it is supporting our learning support students at Lincoln. So our higher and our 11th.
Lincoln, don't do that again.
I'm sorry. You want to smack me now? At the high school here. I apologize. At the high school. I think you're going. At the high school, supporting students in the general education classroom. So taking notes.
Shorter answer is $11.
Yeah. 109 a day.
That's the first thing that everybody asks.
What's it pay?
It just came out. I am done. With that, thank you.
Hey, everybody, I'm gonna start with two thank yous, not just because he's sitting here. Mr. Jones, I put pressure on him because we have orientation so early. I mean, beginning of August, so they don't have 3 months to get the building ready. They have 2. And they had everything ready for 7th grade orientation. And then a couple weeks later with day 1 with students and staff. So building him and his crew deserve a lot of credit for that. And then Mrs. Weisenstein in the office done a tremendous job getting the Chromebooks and the devices out to the students. If our students still with any issues, they come down and see her. She inventories that, and she gets to our staff kids who go ahead and correct those mistakes. They bring them back down to her, calls the kid down, gives them the updated Chromebook, and they're on their way. So that process has been pretty smooth for high school. Still trying to encourage parents to make sure they get their Alma Start done. That's the paperless entry that we have every year. They have to do it every year for every child. I know that might be a little tedious, but to me, that's better than all the first day paperwork going out. Absolutely. Yep. And I thought we had another successful Meet the Teacher night that on August 19th. And then Ms. Columbus and I stood in the office, and it was a constant in and out of the building that night. I didn't get a head count, but I was very pleased with the traffic through. So that's a start here for high school.
Yeah, high school traffic was a lot higher than I've seen in the past. You know, lines at the elementary were shorter because people can't ask all the questions. They don't,
Yeah.
So, Mrs. Collins.
So one of the things that we want to second is thanking Mrs. Weisenstein for all the work that she did with the Chromebooks, because if you would see our office, we had 3 or 4 huge tables, and she was just on top of it, organizing it, and completely efficient with her position with that. Orientations, we're as part of, that's one of the things with my job being K through 12, I get to see both buildings, and it was nice to welcome the youngest of both buildings for orientations. We had our kindergarten orientation very well received, and also our 7th graders. I think we were pretty much 99% at the elementary of people attending it, and probably in the 95th or higher percentage of 7th graders. It was just very nice to see that support. I agree with the meet the teacher, very well attended. We sat back and kind of laughed at everybody that was coming in with their bags to fill their lockers. Like that was like the big thing. And then to get their Chromebooks. Also going down to the elementary, it was nice to see the students being able to take their parents into their classroom and see that. I felt that I I see the first day of school as running more smooth, less tears and less anxiety. They know where they're going. They know where their lockers are. They know where their classrooms are. This past Friday, we had our tailgate and welcomed our first football game. Had a lot of people out there. We were competing with the Savannah Bananas, so that was pretty huge. But we had a lot of people in attendance at the game. Once again, Officer Horley mentioned the new dismissal procedures at the elementary. Mr. Sorbley's been at the forefront with the officers. I've been manning buses, but soon we'll be switching positions, so we both are very familiar with the procedures with it. One of the things that I did want to talk about was stills. I have 2 teachers that you'll be voting on next week to send to stills training. There is a training for teachers that are new to the position. So Mrs. Verdisky and Mrs. Canage are new to their positions for stills. So I have them going to the training. I believe it's maybe next week.
Any questions from Mrs. Cox? Thank you. Mr. Swerve.
So we had, as Columbus said, kindergarten orientation. It went very well attended. We also did a new student orientation that same day, so any new enrollments can come in, kind of give them the same outlook on the building, show them around, let them know how things work. We have been getting a lot of, over the past couple of years, new students, higher than we normally get. So that's been something that we tried to put together, welcome them there. Everybody mentioned Meet the Teacher Night, well attended. Again, thanks to Mr. Jones and his crew for having a building ready to go prior to that meeting. It looked great. A lot of good comments on how shiny the floors were. So it's always nice to hear that. Everybody's mentioned the new dismissal procedures. We average about 110 kids a day. Our highest day so far was 129 kids. It's only 20% of the building. So you figure
Let's
we're
pick up the other 80%, we can lay off Sean's team. I mean, I would never do that. This is recorded. I know I don't need no my service. But in all seriousness, think about that. They're doing 20% of the elementary is pickup. That's a monumental task.
And we've had little tweaks throughout, from the teachers, to Officer Horley and his crew. Maybe if we did this and we did that, make these little tweaks, that's how we just keep getting faster and faster. And as more people get familiar with it, we'll continue to move. Because when it starts moving, we're moving. That's a lot of kids to get out. And it's 15 minutes or less by start to finish.
Was it this high before COVID, or is it just when people, I know a lot of people after COVID, they wanted to pick the kids up, they didn't want to walk the bus, but I didn't know.
We've always had a pretty high pickup rate down there.
Yeah.
I think some of those buses get home late. There's somewhere to be.
It's a lot of, our longest bus ride's probably about a half hour, 40 minutes, somewhere in that range.
It's not your fault. It's just like they get out late and.
Yeah.
A lot of kids got sports after school. They want to get back up here. So
Maybe what we need to do is on the second floor of the gym, put a commune space. And we can feed them dinner, take them to their practice, take them upstairs, they can do their homework and go to bed. The parents can have visitation on the weekend.
I would have signed my kid up for that.
And then the last thing, so First Energy is going to come do a presentation for our 6th graders in October. And they're also going to give, and I brought a sample kit here, a free Energy Saver kit to every kid K to 6 in the building. It's got some Energy Saver light bulbs in there, night lights, just different things, teaching about, ways to save energy and conserve. So I thought that was a great program. They got our kids some stuff for the families as well. And the last thing I want to mention, so 2 weeks from today, September 17th, is our next PTO meeting, and that's when we're going to discuss our logistics for Halloween parade and stuff and get that all ironed out. If anybody wants to come be a part of that, you're welcome.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. Any questions from Mr. Swerve?
What time is the meeting?
4 o'clock.
Quick question. In your research from other schools relative to Halloween costumes, what's appropriate for a costume? Rewind, hold on. I'm framing my question. I got a little less lately. So, you know, rewinding, in years past, because we haven't had it in years past, some parents would take their kids out early or not send them that day because they don't want to be associated with Halloween. So positive costumes, traditional costumes, what have you discovered?
Yeah, so, most schools, number one, like, no props, no weapon props, nothing like that. A lot, some schools, no masks, so you can see who the kids are. On the side of that, like, no makeup, no bloody, gory, like, things like that. So yeah, mainly like superhero costumes or favorite character costumes.
You should go over your clothes, nothing that you have to go in and change into and change, and the less pieces, the better.
Mm-hmm. Again, I think rather than reinvent the wheel, if you've done some homework and I know that you have, you've seen what other people have done, or I assume Blackhawk.
We follow all those same guidelines, you know, we
There you
can't
go,
go
son.
to the bathroom and changing, like, that's just not happening. They have to be able to put it on themselves. Kindergarten, obviously.
So whatever you can do to contribute, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for doing some homework, because that'll expedite the meeting then.
Okay, thanks.
To echo on what everyone else said, it's been a great start to the school year. Mr. Wallace, I just want to publicly thank him and our two student workers, Tage and Martin, for their efforts over the summer. It was a busy summer. We had a complete upgrade to Windows 11 district-wide. That doesn't seem like a big deal in an enterprise area. That's a big deal in an enterprise environment. We have implemented multi-factor authentication or two-factor authentication as a security feature for all of our staff. This does not include students at this time. We have a different solution for the students, but in order to protect our end users in our network and our environment, and actually put us in a position where we are we're compliant with cybersecurity and cybersecurity insurance, we needed to have a way to have identity management to protect those staff and students and our most important data. So that was one of the things we put in place. In conjunction with that, the ClassLink application / student identity management solution was launched as well. And this had a major impact on the way our students and our teachers access the applications that they use. Prior to what we have with this application launcher, they would go on the website, scroll down and find an icon and our picture and click into it, be good to go. Now there's a distinct path, an area where both teachers and myself can push out applications. They have a lot of control and autonomy on what they could do for their students. And you know, it's been a pretty positive thing so far. It's a big change. I've spent a heck of a lot of time down the elementary school supporting them because I knew they would need additional help with the single sign-on and just accessing and so forth, little fingers. So it's been a big change, but the best way I can describe ClassLink, I want to credit Mrs. Kanaj on this because she used it at her previous institution. It's the front door to the school. It's really the access that everyone will need to do just about everything and anything they need in regards to textbooks and so forth. So in addition, did a complete or pretty big redesign on the website. I don't want to say complete, but it was a pretty big overhaul. I'm very happy with it and I received a lot of positive feedback. And then lastly, our AI committee met and it went really well. And we have some very explicit goals for this year in regards to meeting quarterly and really modeling and leading as an example of how we can utilize artificial intelligence in a responsible, ethical manner so our students will be better prepared to do so. So lastly, our tickets, like I said, it's been busy, 419 tickets since August 19th. First response time, 5 hours, 46 minutes. Ticket resolution, 2 days, 14 minutes. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Conrad.
Excuse me, this was also a busy August for me, and those that I work with. Gotta give a lot of credit to them, whether it was ordering at the last minute or getting it distributed to the teachers or whomever ordered it, they were right on top of it. Appreciate their assistance more than I probably told them. So, I'll do that tomorrow morning. It's just, got every besides ordering, we got everybody's contracts rolled over for the teaching staff and all of those. It started first of September and turn on to get ready for the audit.
Thank you. Mr. Rich.
Nothing to add, but thank you to all the administrators for your reports. Once again, demonstrating your competency and really just how cohesive this team is. So thank you.
I'll move on to the data briefing.
So we will, put together this spread this year showing last year's, overall performance on the PSSAs and Keystones compared to this year's performance. So to start with third grade, last year in ELA, we were 67%. This year we're 75%. Last year in math, we were at 70%. This year we were at 85%. And that group of kids moving into fourth grade, that group of kids, we talked about them before. I've had that class started in kindergarten with about 70 kids. They're in fifth grade now. They have 93 kids. So over the years, we've taken on that many additional kids. And just between third and fourth grade, we had 10 kids move into that grade level. So that adds a different, aspect to instruction, trying to figure out where they're at, finding out what we can check on. So move on to fourth grade. So in fourth grade, you see that last year was 81% ELA. This year was 59. Last year in math, 84. This year was 67. And of course, the science test moved to fifth grade, so we have that science score there.
Any indicators? I mean, we're not comparing the same kids, comparing at the same grade level. Right. Go back one slide. So on the third grade test, the 2025 fourth graders would have been 2024 third graders. So it's even a little less than the fourth grade. So even if you look at the same kids, all those 67, 70s, and that big a fall, 59s, and fall. Any indicators as to why they didn't perform in a similar fashion?
So through our IST process, our intervention process, we had a fairly large group, about 10 or 12 kids that were still lacking basic reading skills. So we had a group with them all year long, just trying to build those skills. So that's why that ELA was the kids that had a deep foundation.
So those kids new to us.
Yes. Probably the majority of that.
Thank you.
In fifth grade, ELA last year was at 68. This year it's 61. Math last year 70. This year 69. And then in sixth grade, last year in ELA 81. This year 68. Last year in math 70, and this year is 61. One of the things we noticed too, we don't have the state averages or anything yet, but Frost County sports this year. And one of the things we thought was that due to a lot of going online testing, but a lot of elementary schools didn't go to online testing. In the county, it was actually more of us that stayed to paper pencils. So we take that factor out of it because we all anticipate a little bit of a drop on the switch, but that wasn't the case. So I don't know what happened with the test, the reasons why, and I'm interested to see state averages also drop.
Before I get into percentages, the one comment that you have to understand is the data teamings we have throughout the year after benchmarks. I can't say enough teachers here how they take ownership. I know Dan has said that, Cole said it, and I have said that during our data meetings. But I just want to emphasize that they pretty much run themselves. The students take those benchmarks, and the teachers take them to heart, and they get into that data. And I just sort of sit back and let them talk at those meetings, and they take ownership, which is huge. And that's why some of these scores are where they are on the positive side. So seventh grade is listed there. The number that jumps off the page is math. I know that you might think that 61%, why would you celebrate that? But like Dan said, the state averages aren't officially out, but in the past few years, state average for 7th and 8th grade math is the first number's been a 3. It's been in the 30s. And I would assume it's probably the same or around that. So to beat 61% at 7th grade math, I think is a victory. One of the things that we really concentrated on at the middle high school this past school year was the open-ended questions. And if we, the goal that I set out to the teachers on day one last year was if we could just increase a student's score by 1 point in an open-ended, then that might push them to proficient, which obviously drives our percentages up. And you'll see in 7th and 8th grade, I think that really made an impact, and we got the results. Every teacher here, whether they teach math or ELA or science, is required to do 3 writing across the curriculums. I mean, the same thing down in the elementary. Nicole and I, at the end, we look at them, we provide feedback to the teachers, and we get them back to them. So no matter what you're teaching, PE, art, whatever, we sell that you're still part of the situation. For instance, if you're a PE teacher, you're a teacher of English and language arts, you give them a content reading passage in PE or wellness, and then they can answer or write according to the ELA test in that content area. And I think that's very important to continue to emphasize. So there's your 7th grade. Once again, both increases from the previous year, not the same students, but same tests. We stayed paper and pencil here. As Dan said, most of the elementaries in Lawrence County stayed paper and pencil. Middle high schools in Lawrence County went paperless, went online. We were one of the only ones that I know of that still did paper and pencil. I'll fight that battle. State's still coming out this year and saying it can't fight it anymore. It's online. So I'm still going to hold my breath, and maybe there's a chance in spring, but I doubt it.
Yeah, math on computer.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, because the one thing you have to do then, Bill, is you got to teach them the tools. The online tools, the online calculator, the online protractor, or whatever they have to do. I mean, it's not wise. As far as 8th grade, once again, the ELA was obviously the same. Math increased a little bit. Is there a reason to celebrate 44%? No, but at the same time, still above the state average. And it's probably, we didn't get all of the scores from Lawrence County, but the scores that we did get, we were the highest for 8th grade math. We were actually highest in all the categories, really. So, that is what it is. It's always, for the last so many years, it's been that way. If you can get that into the 50s, then you've done a heck of a job. So, and as far as science goes, just to explain this, the 8th graders took a science test last year, but with the Steele standards, it was the first year being tested on those new standards. So the state gave us a percentile score. Now, I'm not a math teacher. I taught social studies. So the way I explain percentile scores are Leslie took Form A, I took Form B, Nicole took Form C. They gave us a score for Leslie based on how she did on that science test, based on all the students in the state who took Form A. I got a percentile based on all the students for Form B and Nicole for Form C. So we got percentile scores, but it's not the same as we're talking. I can report for 8th grade science, we had 63% of the students score at least at the 50th percentile or higher. Take that for what it's worth, but that's the score we got for science. That's why it says NA. We will get a score this year. It'll actually be the first year for those new standards. So,
Can I add something
yeah.
to that? The other thing to remember about the test that they took for science this year is we just got this percentage. We don't have a breakdown of anchors. We don't know how they did in the new anchors and where they scored high in, where they scored low in, where we need to look at. We just got this percentage, and it's frustrating because doesn't give you any information or a direction to go.
I know we tip caps to the different teams, be they grade levels, be they the Keystone team. But I think we have to tip our cap to your middle school team. Be it Lacombe and Rambo, be it Atlantic and Dijon and Wolf. correct? And be, hooked up,
And Steve.
Steve, right, you know, great middle school team. Great middle school team, absorb. So, I just want to take this moment. I know we've pointed out our grade levels before, we've pointed out our keystones before, but, particularly in the 7th grade math, I mean, I know you have to have good kids to have good scores, let's face it. You can't win an Indy 500 race with a Volkswagen. Or how could you drive? But, I find those middle school meetings really refreshing, and, you know, not to pick one more than the other, but Lagomba and Rambo, they're like Batman and Robin. They're dynamic duo. They're a super team. Work well together. Really like the relationship that John has built with Sohanik and Wolf, the veterans, and then Emily's blended in nice to that science department and was very capable on her own 2 feet. So it doesn't get done. You don't get good student production unless you have good first-time instruction. And although we have good students, we definitely have good teachers.
I agree. As far as keystones go, first time test takers, so that means they took algebra, they took bio, they took English 10. The number that jumps out there is literature going down. That was actually the only data we had that was below state average. We do have state averages for Keystone, which I'll go over here in a second. I'm just going to say, I'm going to attribute this one to teacher being out on FMLA part of the year. I'd like to see how that bounces back this year with the teacher in there for the full scope of 180 days. So that's not an excuse. I think that's just the truth, and that's what I'm going to attribute that one to. As far as state averages, algebra, the state average for first-time test takers is 40%. So it's a tough test. I mean, we're at 43. We're above state average. Bio, state average is 47%. We're at 63, so obviously we're well above. And like I said, the literature state average was 61. That took a dip this year, being at 58, but hopefully we can bounce back this school year with a better score there. Next slide, Manuel. Overall cohort, the class that's currently seniors, through remediation, through retesting, they go through their junior year, giving us as much as they have. So the seniors that are graduating this school year, 56% actually scored proficient on the algebra, 76 on the bio, and we were able to get to 68 on the literature for this cohort.
Again, tip of a hat to Heather and the biology teachers. I mean, that's 76 as a proficient percentage is insane, insanely good. Not that the other ones are bad, but that 76 is a real standout.
So, and then some personal best, well, I always like to point those out. So in 3rd grade, with an 85% personal best for them. And then we had 5 students with perfect math score on the PSSA. And that's something that tells us that, you know, even though maybe you're average, we're teaching all of the content. We can get 5 kids to get a perfect score. So that's something that I know we haven't had in the past. And the other thing is Kirk talked about with our writing across the curriculum, we're really focusing on writing. And I'm really trying to dig into it also at the elementary school with my team. We have a 90-minute block ELA team that's been working on some structures. We kind of now turned our focus on trying to figure out and work with the rest of our ELA teachers on writing. But looking at that, we had 22 students from 3rd through 8th with either perfect writing, because 3rd grade kids don't take the TDA, but they had the perfect writing score. And then the rest of the 4th through 8th, we had kids get perfect TDA scores, which is something we've not done before either. So starting to crack through that barrier, trying to unlock exactly what they want from TDA, because it's not still black and white.
And then the one I had mentioned already, when I go to my first Tri-County Principals meeting here in October, I'll be having my chest out asking everybody if their 7th grade math score was. So.
That was interesting. Thank you very much. Anybody have any questions? Okay. I need these information reports. May minutes from the August 13th meeting. Item 7A will be the treasurer's report. Investment report. Item 8A, list of general fund bills. Item B is list of food service fund bills. 9, Vance Elementary Science Department Head, April Elliott, for a rate of $950. Club advisor, item B, is Angela Merriman, club advisor for the 25-26 school year, 450, as per the collective bargaining agreement. Any questions on
Club O, it was actually started in Elwood, for to raise money for cancer, fighting cancer. And, the girl that started down there was a teacher. I think she retired as a teacher, and she just did that now, or no?
No,
It's online.
she teaches online, but she solely developed this to help. She's a cancer survivor herself and developed it so that she can help those who may be in need help pay for treatment.
Yeah, she's
Really
expanded that
amazing.
throughout the county. So.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And last year, you acknowledged and voted on for it to be a club. However, Mrs. Merman took the first year without pay because it wasn't in the budget. So she did a year free with it.
It's a good program. I've heard a lot of interest in it.
They have a building right there on Lawrence Avenue, right? Well,
No,
No.
moved into the Shelby building.
okay.
So it's
Honestly,
off
those are
campus.
on the ridge.
Exactly. Okay, item C, stream team, approve the following students for the 25-26 school year. Leland Allison, Alfredo Alvarez, Martini Alvarez, Cheyenne Perini, and Tag Schaefer. Any questions on that? Item D, elementary special education paraprofessional, Julia Meaner as hourly special ed aid for $21,600 for the 25-26 school year. Any questions on item D? No, we're good. Okay. Item E, school district registered nurse. Oh, that's the revision plan. Because I couldn't open the file.
Compensation plan?
Yeah.
It's under executive.
Can you print out
Or
the,
goes-
No, I mean, Rob can pull it up, but that's where it's at.
Second.
Yeah, I never log in, so I don't show that stuff.
Scroll down.
You may just scroll up or,
I gave it.
okay.
What changes? What, was there any changes made?
dates changed, the wage agreement, changed. There's no additional benefits to this position as compared to the previous. The last compensation plan also had to provide for the provision of splitting that job, which we're not doing. As far as that goes, those would have been the edits to the compensation.
No.
And of course, you did get into it all field afterwards. I'm happy to talk about it. So we do want to vote on the compensation plan and the recommendation today. This wasn't advertised meeting. We do it before, so we can't vote.
Okay, so we'll be voting on that. Item F, the school district registered nurse.
Yep.
Tammy
Castellandra.
Castellandra.
Actually, it's Bo Castellandra's son's wife. So Bo would have been the teacher, his son Todd, wife Tammy.
We need to put a list of them.
Yeah.
Motions for item E and motion by Mr. Ketchel, second by Mrs. Grest. Any discussion on either one of the motions? Any negative votes, any abstentions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Item G is the disability FML leave of absence for Kelly Gumshoe. Item H, professional development workshops and seminars. Mr. Harold McLean to NASRO School CPT BD, I'm not sure what I need to call, crime prevention through environmental design in New Kensington, 22nd through the 24th. Plus the district is $450 for registration, plus mileage and meals. Mr. James Hoyland and Harold McLean to the child abuse investigation training at Newcastle, September 30th. No cost to the district. Ms. Nicole Columbus, the intermediate unit safety care initial training on September 23rd and 23rd and 22nd and 23rd. No cost to the district. And Miss Andrea Kanaj, and Mrs. Susan Herdisky, Beaver Valley IU for skills training on September 10th. Plus the district is mileage for Ms. Herdisky and substitutes for the teachers. Any questions on? Item I is additions of volunteer non-instructional substitute listing. Item J is the superintendent evaluation. I think I have, I'm gathering them all up. I have two here I need. Sherry, you give me one. I have two here. I'm not sure who's the two. I'm not sure who's the other one is. But if I could have, even if you do the one that Mr. Britt sent online, because I want to get this, this should have been done a couple of months ago. I'd like to get it done. And I think I need to get one off with Lance and Dave. So. Board action, committee of the whole, policies adoption, second reading. Approve policy 626, federal financial compliance, 626.1, travel reimbursement, 827, conflict of interest. Questions on item A? Item B, vehicle insurance, with Kerr Agency of Erie for the 25-26 school year, the amount of $43,845. Last year was $38,243. This is for all our buses.
Do we have increased vehicles? Cost.
So I put it to the buses, so quite a bit. Right.
So what's the,
That our transportation department would like Siri because they have a stone.
We have zero talk on buses. That's a big. Yeah.
So
We still have like other deductibles on everything else, but the zero comp on glass we had for many years. And they want to get a broken glass. It's expensive. It's not, that's zero comp. It's really nice. And even if it's $100, I wouldn't do that either. But some of these windshields are $15,000 now on some of these vehicles.
Yeah, well, it's, yeah, your fire insurance, your car insurance, mine all went up. And I keep asking why, and they say, well, have you ever tried to replace it? Yeah, it's all more expensive now. So it's really a win situation. Any other questions on item B? Item C, Johnson Controls Maintenance Agreement. Item D, Affordable Care Act Employer Reporting Agreement. The agreement with Regina Group to provide Affordable Care Act employee reporting for the Rural School District rate of $500. No change from last year. Questions on that? Item E, service purchase contract with Little Catholic Area School District. This is a purchase agreement for educational services for a rural student at the 25-26 school year at the rate of $75.78 a day. Questions on that? Item F, service contract with
There are two options here, and, this is my one is for secure, which has been best for the student. So I left blanks on here for this week, and if we don't have them by next Tuesday, that'll come on.
item G is resolution 0925.1, small games of chance organization recognition. Any,
This, so the county asked, that the district do this the last couple of years. And I thought it was a one and done kind of thing, but they asked for it annually. So the list of actions attached to that resolution is all of our PTO districts. They would ever want to do a raffle or anything like that, that this gives them the ability to.
Item H, field trips, student activity trips. With Amanda Long, Jessica Miles to the bocce team, Special Olympics Youth Summit at the Loft Conference Center at South Point on October 17th at the cost of the district for transportation and substitutes for Mrs. Long and Mrs. Miles. Item 2, Miss Amanda Long and Jessica Miles as students participating in the polar plunge. And February 27th, 2026 at the cost of the district for transportation substitutes for Mrs. Long and Mrs. Miles. And item 3, attach a list of 25-26 FFA VOAG activities, field trips, and events. Questions? Any comments, questions from the floor or local people on the agenda items? Any business? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.